Georgia is just something else. It's just a good place. Anywhere you ate was excellent food and but it was a really neat place to stay. We stayed with some friends of hers for about 4 days there.
Yeah.
Then we flew to the Keys from there. And we spent 4 days in the Keys and we get into the airport, had our car rented and everything, go out, get our car and back says $20 more a day, we'll give you a Mustang convertible, you can pick the color. Sold.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So we got a Mustang convertible and we stopped in before we got to our hotel, got some adult beverages, they're gonna put in the hotel and we bought one of them bags where you keep stuff, food hot or cold, for $4, whatever. We fill that up every morning. Put some adult beverages in there, some waters, a couple of pops, and we just take off in the convertible. And we seen a sunset on a different island every night. And it was just cruised up, seen the Everglades and covered all of them. Ate some Cuban food. And, oh, that was good.
Fancy.
So we did the Hawaii thing back in 2013, 2014.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that Christmas, that's when we got the big snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And okay, I need to hear that story.
Yeah, I'll tell you that one.
Yeah, so we left, we lost power in the house before we flew out Christmas Eve. Right? And so we're like, what do we do? So I said, draining the water in the house. So, we're going, right? So we go, then we get the snow. We flew out of Chicago. Got to Hawaii, spent our couple days in Hawaii, did our cruise, right? Started to come back, they couldn't get us home. So we said, okay, we can at least make it to LA. The flight to LA, right? So we flew to LA. We spent the next 5 days in LA driving around. We should have just stayed in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And spend an extra 5 days there. But
Like 1 day in LA is no, I don't.
yeah. Well, we went to the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
Actually, we drove to Vegas one day and
Did you get up to the Hoover Dam?
Not that
Oh,
time.
God.
Not that time. We did.
Oh,
We
that
have.
Hoover Dam's so
Yeah.
cool.
We actually did last year. So, yeah, we went to Grand Canyon, Hoover Dam.
We hadn't taken, since COVID, we hadn't taken vacation.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we build up on a credit card, we build up airline miles. We flew to San Francisco, the two of us for free. We flew we've flown to Florida twice. And we flew from into Savannah, Georgia, and then down to the Keys. We flew from Savannah to the Keys, all free. On airlines. We had a bunch of them we had to use up. And it was like use them or lose them because we get a companion ticket every year.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I was wondering if it was just me.
Shut that door, it might help, and then if you want to turn that here. There's really no heat on that.
The doors
That's
is yellow, probably at least
That's
8 to 10 years old.
They make car jackets for it.
If it's a laser product, chances are you're still gonna be able to get parts for it, but once it gets
I got a
about 10
slide.
years old, it gets hard to find parts for it. We worked on like the old
Call the meeting to
fifties that were like 15 years old, you couldn't find parts for it. You can still
All
find.
right,
Meeting's been called to order. Meeting's been called to order, gentlemen.
Indeed, here we are. Hello, sir.
After it.
One truck driver to another.
I know, not anymore. I'm retired now. Are we live on?
yep, we're live, we're ready to
Oh,
go.
okay.
Do we have any public comment?
There's no one on there, I just checked.
Right. Looking for a motion to approve the,
I motion to approve the minutes from the December 19th meeting.
I'll second.
so first item of business is
We should vote.
what?
Vote.
Oh.
Oh, look at Jeff.
All
He's the
in,
meeting kind of soon now.
Yeah.
all in
It's taken
favor?
me a while.
Yay, yay,
Yay.
yay, nays?
Good to go.
So first item of business is the 2022 annual report. And if I read this correctly, I think that we need to accept this and then move to send it to city council. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You man.
That's nice.
I motion that we accept this and send it to city council.
Second that.
Right?
Now, if anybody has questions, we can,
So, for Randy, this is something that like. Because of our RRC certification, which is redevelopment ready communities, they have some things that they like to see us do. And we should do it anyway. So whether we were that or not, this is really a good thing. We kind of just, we go through what we did all year and we put it in this report.
Okay.
And then that gives us an opportunity to look back at what we did. And two, then the city council also knows. So, and just kind of all in one little document, so. We didn't do a whole lot of like exciting things last year, but I'm hoping this year we're gonna step it up.
we hope.
I'm ever in town.
So, yeah, this is pretty simple, just kind of tells how many people are on the board, what changed throughout the year. And that, you know, we really didn't have any like development reviews, didn't have any variances, yeah. We did have some people take some training, and then, we just kind of mentioned that we are having that issue with people that want that second driveway that we still kind of struggle with it, so.
Yeah, and I read something in here about the second driveway thing. Was that like, is that an ordinance now? Or is that
We
passed?
have had it for a really long time that on a single family, residence, that you're only allowed one driveway. And that's because,
2016, 2015.
I think it was, yeah,
It was like
it's
that.
a while ago.
That's a while ago, yeah, no.
But, because of how close all of our homes are in proximity of each other, if you put a second driveway, A, it's really hard on the curb and gutter situation, and B, how many driveways do you want right next to each other? You got people backing out on your sidewalks, and, you know, we're trying to be walkable, and so it does cause, it's problematic, and in some areas, you know, people have a much larger lot. And one of the thoughts we had was maybe that wouldn't be a problem if we made it like restrictive based on the size of your lot. So we really haven't went any further with it, but we have had some discussion. So it's the only thing I really had to put in there, so I did.
Quite a bit of discussion.
We did.
Yeah.
So,
All right. On to reviewing the master plan goals.
so I just printed out the chapter from the master plan with the goals. And I don't know if you guys want to run through them really quick. If you want to try to attack a couple pages every month, but because we kind of talked about how we really wanted to really dive into them a little bit better this year and see, you know, if we've already accomplished it, if we want to work towards it, if we think it doesn't belong anymore, if it doesn't fit. You know, like say we wanted a baseball diamond in here in McClintock Park, well, that wouldn't fit anymore because we have so many other things
Yeah.
that. So that, you know what I mean? And so if we read through here and we see something that just doesn't make sense anymore.
Does these Spark grant, is that for,
Yeah, not here.
okay,
I didn't put it on here, but we
Yeah.
can talk about it under
that's right,
other.
yeah, okay. okay.
Yep, for sure.
We did discuss that at the last meeting. I was at the Spark grants.
We got denied.
Right, I
Um,
think I saw that on the city council.
Yeah, so we did get denied the Spark grant, but I think we plan to reapply.
And you asked, yeah, you asked about, you were talking about McClintock and that was.
Yeah.
Hopkins.
So I was just trying to make an example of like, as you go through these goals, if you see something like that that sticks out, you're like, well, we sold that property, or why do we still have this in here, or, you know, or why aren't we talking about this? So.
The first one, land use and growth, I guess, is that specific under objective A, is that specifically like just vacant land, or is it the buildings that are in it?
Which,
It's page 9. It's the first goals and objectives page. from
oh, it's on the first one.
But it's labeled page 9 on the bottom right.
Oh, got you. Okay, so,
I was just curious, ensure new development is compatible with existing.
oh, land use and growth, okay.
Is that
and-
just our, like, is it only lots that the city owns, or is it privately owned? What are we trying to evaluate?
It's not just that the city owns.
Okay,
So like if somebody comes in and they want to put a recycling center in the middle of downtown. we would want to make sure that that's compatible with all the other uses.
That's a bad example.
We've had that happen though.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But we actually had a guy that wanted to, start a trash business. Why would we want that downtown? So those are things that we want to make sure when we're working through. So if we're reviewing a plan, like if somebody brings us a plan, we're supposed to make sure that that is compatible with the master plan. And so that's kind of what this is saying. And then,
Can I give an example?
yeah,
We had a guy down here on the corner, where Twiller's Tavern is,
Mhm.
and Kitty Corner is, his name is, construction. Bricklayer, Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy,
Conklin, Jimmy Conklin. He wanted to start put his business in this building. It was an old gas station. And,
My
so
grandfather used to own the
yeah,
building.
so he's gotta go through everything, like, we got to put a fence around it, he's gotta have his trash can covered, just, it'll go through all the. What the city says or the rules of the city, we go through and make sure everything's done.
Mhm.
And if there's something questionable, then we kind of talk about it, figure out a way to get it done.
we're not trying to throw up hurdles. We're actually trying to move them if we can.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also don't want to have uses that don't work well with each other.
I really want to steal thunder, but I'm not going to.
You're what?
Nothing.
Oh.
Just keep my mouth shut.
That's the first.
Yeah, isn't it?
What about the ensure that the city is connected by non-motorized transportation routes? Is that just like sidewalks or is there something?
Yeah,
more?
I mean, wherever we don't have sidewalk, we want to put new sidewalk. We want to make sure that we are updating our sidewalks that are in poor condition. And then if there's ever an opportunity for a trail to come through here, we would love to connect to it.
We want Langsburg to be a walkable city.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that's
that,
something that I mean,
Yeah.
I have a couple thoughts and questions here, on that note. On the sidewalks in the subdivision across the street from me, I don't know if that's the name, but off of West Street,
Mhm.
the larger subdivision. It was built in two different stages
Yep.
and like the sidewalks just disconnect. On one side of the street, it's like missing for like 100 yards and then
Yep.
the other side is missing for like 30 feet.
Yep.
And is there ever going to be, is there a reason there isn't sidewalks? Is it due to like gas lines or something that hasn't been?
No,
connected?
there are homes there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I live right where you're talking about. I live-
There is one
It's,
section.
it's Oakland Drive. I live on that.
Yeah, there is one section
Yes, you
that,
have trees, or you Beth's husband, yeah,
Yep,
yeah, so you guys have like the tree, there's trees right at the end of the sidewalk there, and then it just like
right where Power Box is, and then it's just blank for 100,
100.
yeah, 150 feet.
I think the reason there is no sidewalk there is because when those homes were built, we didn't have in our ordinance that we required sidewalk, and now we do require sidewalk. So there is a spot in there. I know we have slotted to add some sidewalk. There's a spot, and it's probably the one you're talking about.
They're both parallel to each other across the street.
The one is much smaller, I mean, it's
I bet-
the length
Yeah.
of this room.
Yeah, I bet you that it's the one because somebody called last year and said, hey, their kids, had to stand somewhere, couldn't get on the bus. I don't know. There was something that somebody brought to our attention. And so I think the DPW is planning on doing that this year.
Okay,
So,
just on the
the-
one side.
Yeah.
Which would be, I mean, that
and
would be
so the
awesome.
problem we have is once a home is built, it's hard for us to go back and force them to put, like, you buy a new home
Yeah,
and it's already existing and we tell you you have to put in sidewalk, they are not happy about it.
sure. No, that makes
So,
sense.
but it is something that, I mean, those subdivisions are important that we connect them. And I think that where those pieces are missing, that we should work on.
Yeah, I do notice in the spring and the summer, a lot of people end up walking their dogs such in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Or like
It's a thoroughfare.
on the other side of the street from you, like we like just walk through the grass and I kind of feel bad because it's like
It's
somebody's.
their grass.
Yeah, it's essentially somebody's yard, and we're just like, it's a path, but it's such a natural path between the two sections of the sidewalk, where the sidewalk just magically disappears for a few seconds.
And then one of the other problems we run into is when we do put in the sidewalk and it hasn't been there, they aren't real happy about taking care of it.
Yeah, the neighbor there with the long stretches, I happen to talk to him, he's retired, he goes jogs all the time, he's
Yeah.
always jogging in the neighborhood, he's like, man, I hope they don't put that sidewalk.
See?
in."
We do,
I
we
like
do
my
get a lot of
lawn.
that, but I would say the reason that piece is missing is because those homes were built in that time where we didn't have in our ordinance that, and now we do. I need new construction. So now, like, they put in that dollar store and there was, before we did the sidewalks, there was a piece of sidewalk in front of that store that went nowhere. Well, people were like, "Whoa, that's stupid." Well, because we're making you put in the infrastructure when you build.
Won't be stupid when somebody goes on the other side of it.
Right,
Right.
but it takes,
Yeah.
not everybody has that
Right,
vision and all
yeah.
they're like, well, why is this stupid sidewalk, well, that's why. And that's why there isn't any there, because that wasn't in our ordinance and now it is.
Heck, that insurance place been there since we were kids.
Yeah. Yep, but when they built this first dollar store, we forced them to put sidewalk in there, they were mad about it. But then when we did the rest of our sidewalk, look, we didn't have to build that, and it
Makes sense,
was,
yeah.
So in locations like that, I mean, we can make recommendations to the city council, to the DPW, to, hey, we got a problem, put this sidewalk in, and I do know, I'm pretty sure the one you're talking about is one Dave and I have in the budget for next year.
Cool. And the one side definitely makes more sense. I mean, next door he lives, if you'd have to cut down trees and stuff. That would be
Yeah,
much
so
more-
I'm
much-
thinking you're talking about,
The small.
Yeah.
things. And then on the topic of trails and stuff, too, just really curious about that, like, just going back to like the brush pile area and stuff, and has there ever been like any talk about like around that, like the water treatment area, like, or like a path around that or
we
something?
have the trail up there, that last picture, it's old, but that was one we were trying to do. And we've just never been able to complete it, but it is something that has been discussed.
Where at?
Like, it just goes, it connects everything in the city, and I'm pretty sure there was a section that went back by but we just haven't gotten it.
I mean, I would love to be part of that, even like brush cleanup or something like to do that, like, I like exploring and walking and stuff. And
Yeah,
I think it'd be neat to have some more nature trails. I know we have one by the cemetery over there. And that goes to
Yeah.
the golf course as
yep,
well.
yep.
Yeah, my wife and her friend walked that.
Well, feel free to work on a plan
Okay.
and
I guess
planning commission, we can put together a plan and take it to city council and.
part of my confusion, I guess,
Find a
I
grant.
don't know what land we own. So like, I know that like the railroad used to go through next, like, the potentially could be like a rail trail there, right? But I think the city owns a part of it.
Yeah.
But then it turns into private property.
Yeah, the problem with the railroad is it was all bought up by people who did not want that rail to trail.
Oh.
To go through here. So they bought it up, chunked it off and sold it to everybody they possibly could, so that would never happen.
Okay.
The city does own a piece of that,
Like to the back of the water treatment area.
no, it actually, so if, I don't know if you can see on there. But the water treatment, like, so let's see, let me get my bearings. So this is the little road that goes down there. So we could actually, but the railroad piece is way over here.
Mhm.
So we could actually still do something without the railroad piece.
Yeah.
To connect with that. Could go out and around.
And it's like all.
And actually, people think sewer is gross, but it's actually really pretty back there.
Well, it's beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
but you really can't even walk up around it. Like that on the southern end of it, it's all marshland and stuff like.
Yeah, we have to keep it fenced legally, it
Sure.
has to be fenced, so, but it is a pretty area back there, for sure.
I don't know if there's other areas that pass could join, but that would be cool. Or
that would-
Diamond Lake area, but that's
Yeah.
probably owned stuff.
And that would be our best bet, probably, to have something that's a little more nature-like than just city sidewalk.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, if that's something interesting and you want to take the lead on putting something together, we can make it part of this meeting. And any reason we can't do that?
Absolutely,
So,
Quick question on the boat launch. We lost that bid, right? The boat
correct,
launch.
we did not get the grant. Yep.
I have a question on goal number 3. Objective A,
What page?
page.
It says page 10 at the bottom, because that's page 10 from the master plan, but it's page 6 of your packet. It's not out.
the six in the box.
It's a dark 6, yeah.
So it says consistently enforce zoning and property maintenance regulations to ensure a quantity and quality of housing stock to discourage greenfield development. What is greenfield development?
So that would mean, I think without saying farming, without saying farming.
Okay, gotcha.
Because we are trying to, we want residential density, and when I say we, that's what's in our plan. Okay, that's not me, that's just everybody has kind of, that's what we want is residential density. And we don't want to encourage farmland.
We don't want people playing.
My first two meetings on this were the ones that where we did all the language and regulations for, the 5 chickens,
Oh, yeah,
no roosters.
all that,
all the
that
cows,
was
the
very
pig
difficult,
stuff, and,
but I still
yeah.
get calls all the time. Hey, we're buying a house in, town, can we have a horse?
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, see, I get that a lot. It's
Can you
that
keep
you
it in
would
your
not
house?
Yeah.
get a pony. You wouldn't believe
You
it.
get out of city limits, you get.
There hasn't been more public comment and people in this room since those meetings.
The chickens.
Oh, yeah, the chickens.
The chickens especially.
Yeah, the chickens did that.
No. The marijuana, is a lot of public comment too.
But not for the,
Just a couple of weeks about
Where do they
it.
land?
5 chickens, no roosters.
In the city, right?
Yep. You may have
Free range.
2 pigs,
Okay.
not,
No, they gotta be cooped.
yeah,
They're like-
they cannot have a combined weight exceeding 150 pounds.
yeah,
That'd be
If
some
you're gonna have
chickens.
No, those are pigs.
Oh, the pigs,
Yeah.
okay.
There's not very big pigs.
No, that's not. That's like 3 weeks old.
Yeah, the wee piggies.
That's funny. All right.
Any other comments on the review of master plan goals?
I would just recommend that you guys really like go through them and you have, I mean, do we want to,
I think this is good here, just go through a couple of pages, 2 or 3 pages every meeting and we'll
Yeah.
just eventually get through it.
I mean, I can
That's what
put
they
it back
want.
on next time,
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
reread them if you
Yeah.
come back with something
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
and that way, like, maybe in the first quarter.
Like, Randy had a question on one page and you had a question on another page. And I'll try to read this again and maybe
That
I'll
way
have a
we-
question next time.
When we get ready to update our master plan, everybody will be
Yeah.
like, well,
We know a little bit what's in. it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Got lots of things highlighted.
cool.
Perfect. I think-
And this is online, if you. want
Yeah.
to-
I found it online.
Okay.
It was just easy to print off and like, yeah.
No, for sure,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, if you, I know I gave you a section of it, but if you want the whole thing, it is online or we can print. it. No, I think that once we're kind of done reviewing them, then if you guys wanna, make a motion that you believe they're all in alignment and, whatever it is you want.
When should we have that? Do we have a date or does it just
No.
happen? Okay.
But I think that we should just have it on our agenda until we
Yep.
decided that. I'll just leave
Is the
it on.
goal to like produce a 2023 version of the master plan or just to like say we're still cool with it or it needs changes?
Yep, just kind of reaffirm that everything in there is okay, and if it's not, we could say, hey, when we get ready to redo our master plan, we really want to look at, this section. We do want farmland, we don't care about residential density, or, something like that, if there's something in there that we want to change. I think that, we want to be ready to do that. What year is our master plan? Did we just do it?
Yeah.
So 2 years old? I feel like it's 2 years old. I don't think I have a copy of it.
I don't think we did last year. Oh, yeah.
Before we move
But
on,
every 5 years, we have to, review it or redo it.
before we move on page in the square, page 6, the top objective, objective B. Where do we stand on the enforcing of the like maintenance of property codes or decline of property values and stuff? I feel like one of my first meetings or maybe on a city council meeting that I watched or something, there was discussion about certain properties in town that have accumulation of personal property. And who's looking at that? Is that something that we can deal with? Or-
Oh, I think that one of the objectives is for us to develop and consistently enforce a property maintenance.
So that hasn't been. developed.
We do not have a property maintenance code, so we do have, you can't have junk, what I mean, there's stuff in so we have in our charter, we have the general law ordinances that are just say, you can't do anything that annoys your neighbor, some stuff like that. But we don't have something that says your windows can't be boarded up, right? So there is nothing along those lines. I mean, I think that it is something that we should be looking at. And that, and that would be this group. you know, that would, and I think between this group and the DDA, then, you know, something would get put in somewhere, whether, I don't think it belongs in the master plan, but it would be its own code or ordinance that says, you know, you can't paint your building purple, or you can't have cats on the roof, or, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying weird things because that, I don't know, I don't want to plant something in your mind of what you want in this ordinance, but it is, I think it is important. Other places have them. We could certainly get samples of property maintenance codes.
I think there would be a lot of value in this. I think we all would want
And
the
it would
city to
give
look
us
at.
teeth, because when somebody calls and complains about the property that, you know, has all the junk on it or whatever, sometimes we don't have the teeth to make that clean up, like the building downtown that has boarded windows. I have no teeth to make them remove those boards. So I mean, what's wrong with it? It's boarded up. Where we don't have anything that says it can't be boarded up.
So how do you go about developing an ordinance?
Um,
I mean, is that
we would
like-
just get a sample one and then read through it and go just like we are through these things and go, well, do we want to do that, you know? And
So we would come up with an ordinance as part of the planning
Yep.
commission. We would then, would you want to run it through the DDA?
I
Or
would think it
not?
wouldn't, I mean,
Wouldn't
unless,
hurt.
well, I think because you're gonna have a different set downtown maybe
Yep.
than you would.
True,
So you might want two sections in there,
Yep.
because I do think that you're gonna have a different set of property maintenance codes for downtown than you would in some of the other neighborhoods. There might be other things you wanna
Like
require.
city limits versus.
no,
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 like, so
downtown.
downtown, like in the district, like where the commercial buildings are,
Mhm.
you might wanna say, you have to have brick on your building. You know, you have to have a historical frontage, or, you know, I mean, so I'm just saying there is that kind of property maintenance code, and I mean, I think downtown, we could easily make sure everybody has to have them cleaned up.
Right.
And you can't have boarded up windows, but there might be some things that you would want,
Yeah.
you know,
Is that something that we can work on doing?
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
I
where
can
does-
get some sample
That's a
ones.
good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
It's just making our community better. It's-
Yeah.
Why not have it?
And well, and I'm sure there's probably some other stuff in there that, you know, we might give them like a month or something before they got, because, you know, somebody breaks window, they got.
so I would say, let's get the- let's
It'd have to
get-
be some time in there.
let's get the ordinance and then we'll figure out how we're gonna. enforce
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think that'd be a
where
great. thing to
does
get some
blight,
samples.
we talked about blight in one of these meetings, blight ordinance, is that? Am I remembering right? Am I remembering incorrectly?
Well, I don't know that we have a blight ordinance.
Well, I don't think we do.
Right,
We talked
okay.
about getting.
Yeah.
Doing something.
And I think that would be along the line of your property maintenance code.
Yeah,
So
right.
I think that, like, I mean, we had a rental property in Owasso, and I know they have a property maintenance code. If you have a couch on your front porch,
Mhm.
they're gonna tag you and they're gonna send you a letter telling you this couch has to go. And they- No, so I mean, seriously, and they have someone who goes out and does that, but they have an ordinance to back that up. So is that what you mean by blight? Or do
Yeah,
you
no,
mean-
I just meant like that one house over here, I would consider blight.
Right,
Just, yeah, so.
but I mean, if we had a property maintenance code,
Oh, yeah,
it may have never gotten to the
yeah,
point.
right, right.
Exactly.
No, I agree. Yep.
Especially with
Yep.
the development of the railroad subdivisions. Yeah, I think that's vitally important.
I agree. And we have some blight down there that needs to be cleaned up in that area.
So after we passed it, it would go to city council and city council would.
Not the DD.
Well, it might go to the DDA to add their parts to it, but then when it was all passed, then it would go to city council to approve it and enact it.
And the DDA,
So,
whether they were a part of the property maintenance or not, I mean, I think that it's probably just a really great way to communicate with each
Yep.
other that, you know, the planning commission would like to see a property you know,
Mhm.
and as we get working on it, you know, have the DDA review it. I think that would be important.
agreed. Cool. Do we have to make a motion to pursue that further then, or is that just
If you
happen?
guys want to, I would be glad to put it on next month's agenda and bring some samples.
I believe so.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. You know, you walk through our neighborhood and you see one house, it's got like foot high grass and all that. It'd be nice to have something to say.
We do have that one.
Dude won't do it, but you know, there's an ordinance that says we're trying to make our community uniform and nice.
Yeah.
I learned an ordinance that we don't have. That we have no noise ordinance in the morning. You can mow lawn at 6 o'clock in the morning.
No, we do.
We do.
I think it's 7.
There goes your plan.
No, that was mowing lawn at 6:30 in the morning.
If the sun's up, right?
And I had a lady in a nightgown just chewing my rear end out.
I think it's 7.
Oh,
It doesn't mean your
It might-
neighbors are pissed off.
It was, well, I just mowed in the wrong spot. I should have been out doing the football field or something. But, oh, God, she was just doing me, I didn't think no, but, yeah. I love it.
No, it's working.
Yep, and then, he come down and talked to us. And, he come down and talked to us and said, maybe you can start a different spot next time. He said, there is no ordinance, says you can't be doing this,
I
but,
think there is
Yeah.
something
oh,
like
okay.
from, I
I'm gonna look into that and see.
no, I do think there is something. Yeah. But I don't know what it is exactly, but we do have something. Because we get people all the time complaining about that.
Some people just get up early in the morning, some people don't.
Mhm.
I remember that. Let's start shooting fireworks off at 7 o'clock. in the evening.
7:01.
After people are up until 2:30 during the night before.
Yeah, that goes out the window around the fourth week.
Yeah, it does, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
On to plan development at 120 Railroad.
I guess I just kind of wanted to open the discussion on what we have been presented with and kind of see what you guys are thinking about the project and then make sure that you understand that we have this Article 15, which is the planned unit development, and I've never done one. We've never had one before, so it's gonna be all new.
Now, is this the tiny houses or the?
No,
No,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's the only way we would have been able to allow the tiny houses.
Yeah.
So we had mentioned a planned unit development before.
Yeah,
So, if you go to, our zoning board, our zoning book, the ordinance for zoning says you have to have, 50 foot of frontage and your house has to be a minimum of, 2,000 square feet or whatever, so there's set things there. This planned unit development allows us to kind of create a new district that says all these houses have to be on 25 foot frontage and have to be 1,400 square feet. And so they're gonna be, the plan that these guys are presenting, these houses are gonna be close together. And it doesn't fit in our square box right now, like, in our ordinance, this doesn't work. Unless we use this. And so that was the tool I said, well, you just do planned unit development, we'll make it work. So,
and I'm sure that will come through this.
oh yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The whole thing, it'll start right here.
Right.
So,
We have to approve the plan unit development.
Yep.
First.
Well, the whole thing. So what we did, what city council did was we entered into an agreement with Edwin Allen Homes to proceed with the planning of doing this,
Yep.
right? Somebody said, we're not married to them yet, we're engaged, right? There's still a lot of planning. How are they gonna fit 30 houses on that plot of land, right? What else are they gonna do? What else is gonna be needed? All those things, right? We committed to selling them the plot of land for $1. We committed to giving them a hookup to the sewer for free and a tax pilot, right? Well, that one needs to be negotiated a little bit more, right? So there's still a lot of work to do before we put the stamp on, yes, this is good, right? But there has to be something on either end for somebody to back out, right? We can't just go, no, we don't want to do this, right? But if we get to the point where it's like,
it's
these
not
houses
working.
houses are too close together, we don't like them, right? For whatever reason, we can do that. But
Where is the land? Is it is it where, like during the circus where the carnival rather, where the like trailers and stuff are parked
Yeah,
behind? PDPs?
So your PDPs is,
Yeah.
it's directly behind PDPs.
Like not excavating, taking out trees and stuff, like it's just the grass that's there.
Yeah, that big area right behind PDPs,
30
and it
houses.
might go. Okay, so where Clinton Street is?
Is that where the car wash is? Maybe.
So car wash is on Lane, but Clinton is around that curve before you get to the car wash. So you remember, the house that burnt on Grand River Road?
Yep.
So that, if you take that straight down, that road right next to that house, that's gonna be Clinton Street. And that we have a right of way where that would go clear through. And so just past that is where this property ends.
Okay.
Is it
so-
possible for you to show us on the map? I'm really curious too.
It's-
No, that was gonna be my next question, actually, what you were saying.
See if I have a better picture of it.
I used to drive my school bus back there the other day.
I'd like to know.
So it's-
Myself. It's right.
Can't see here.
No,
No.
It's,
So this is.
I didn't want to pay them double. time.
Triggers.
The boss had to come in.
So it's all.
I gotta ask her how she liked the beds at the
Yeah,
building.
so Clinton runs.
So it's like everything before the city.
so that dirt road is actually a
But
City council.
city.
Yeah.
Throughway. Right.
They had a big poster there.
So it's that big kind of open area and then there's a guy here with like some hot rods. Yep. Oh,
You got
okay, yeah, all right.
You got it?
That's like just a big open chunk, like.
was
Yeah, yeah.
the elevator, was
Under
the
the building.
elevator in the back?
Greenery used to be there.
To that?
No, the elevator,
That's what I asked.
the elevator was actually pretty close to right behind PDP's.
Yeah.
That's behind that house that burned
Where
down.
the, like where the cement pad is, that they do
Yeah.
a pole.
Oh,
That's where
that was
the-
The elevator, how long ago did the elevator?
2012.
Oh, okay.
So if you go down and look
Yeah.
at one of our history signs, there's a really good picture of the elevator on it.
Yep.
But that's where that build,
So what was the building that was back further that's, was there another building or am I dreaming of this?
no, so the elevator, so what was in those cement like, that was the big grain
Yep,
things.
yep,
And then right behind there was a little building
yep,
that was kind, they had like
Got it.
their scale and weight thing was right there and see,
Yep.
and then behind there.
Yep.
There was like another just dilapidated falling down
yeah,
building.
yeah, that's what I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah, it had to come down.
yes, it did.
Well, this sounds like a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
So,
Use that.
so it says in there, $6 million, it's actually gonna be a $7.5 million investment by then. So I've already heard people questioning why we're giving away this property. We're selling it for $1, right? But let's say the property is worth $100,000. Right?
It generates taxes for us, right?
It's
50,
it's gonna create revenue.
estimated $54,000 a year. Income or property tax on that.
By those 30 lots.
That
By
comes
the
out
30,
a little
that's
bit.
That means
Also-
planning commission dinners.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
But also, schools, the schools will get another $500,000 if there are 2 kids per house. I mean, so that's an estimate.
What are the capacity in our schools right now? Are we,
They're,
Don't know.
they're low.
they're low, so this would really benefit them.
I did reach out to Matt Shastel, so he is aware of the project. This is like kind of a little map, well,
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
that helps you guys a little bit.
I didn't realize. How, so that stretches, what we're talking about here, it stretches all the way,
See, I thought it was back.
all the way back to.
If you ran West Street
Yeah,
south.
yeah, I think that line is a little off, but,
Isn't that a dirt road?
I think it's maybe dirt with school.
So would,
Here,
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah,
that-
little section, here's that.
Yeah.
is that what they're talking?
1,000 feet, yeah,
Okay.
and so there,
Mhm.
if they do houses every 25 feet,
Road on the front or back
that's why you
side.
get 30.
Yep.
And
Developed out.
would they be taking up the throughway for Clinton Street?
Well,
I think it's a good.
I
idea.
think that is gonna come up, is how are we gonna figure out how to put a road? You know, so we have Clinton, I do think we're gonna have to add, but we do have road right of way there, so if you look at this drawing and you find Clinton Street.
Yep.
So Clinton would go clear through, see how we have that road right away there, and then it would come up to Railroad, or come up to Williams or whatever that other one is. I
Just-
can't read it.
I can drive my bus
Right
there.
now,
Yeah.
it turns to.
I mean, the buses drive through there now.
Yep.
But we are gonna have to figure out how we're gonna pave it if there's 30 houses back.
right, where was the railroad in reference to?
So the property that we're talking about was not the railroad. The railroad was just the other side of that.
And Clinton's,
Like, so you know where the fire well is, or the parking lot behind Twilligers?
Yep.
That's the railroad.
Got
So those spaces right by PDPs, and then there's some rocks, and then there's some more
Yep,
spaces.
yep.
That-
Was the
yeah.
depot too.
Yep, so
Okay.
right in that area
Well,
was the
yeah.
railroad.
okay,
So basically, I guess it's just an alley right now. But so we have Railroad Street on the upper half and we would have Clinton Street on the lower half.
That's right, those dirt road, we can go back by where they
Yeah.
hang the deer.
Yep.
That's there it is.
Yeah,
Straight
that's-
there.
that's-
So the problem is the buckle may have to move.
Mhm. Carnies may have to park somewhere
Why
else.
not do it in the open area where they have the market?
We don't care.
Easy cleanup, hose are down. Yeah.
You got it right by my business, thank you, sir.
I mean,
That's a nice guy.
It's really,
Yeah.
free if they want to- I mean, we can fund
Bring
it,
it to
buckle, but
Oklahoma.
it's not worth giving out $7.5 million investment.
Agreed.
But that's just my opinion.
We had 14 women in the Detroit area staying at our building the weekend of the Buck Bowl.
So
And
they
It
love-
it was a bumper crop too. Well, yeah, they said between the tractors driving through town
Oh,
and all the deer hanging up across the street, 'cause you know that big window, they could see right over there.
Yeah,
They said this, they didn't see too much of that where they would have,
That's funny.
but they, you know, anybody that stays our place, they say they love the town.
What's the rental portion that's mentioned here? Is that just assume that 10% of these may end up being rental houses?
No.
know that this company is going to own these and rent them.
And they will do the maintenance.
They're gonna maintain
It's a
them.
development.
All of the houses will be rentals?
Yep, all of them.
So why does it say 10% pilot? What does that mean?
So the 10% pilot means that, so in lieu of taxes. They're gonna pay us 10% of $1,500 in rent. So if they get $1,500 in rent a month,
$150.
then we would get $150 per house per month. For however long, what is it, 15 years or 10 years, they said for the pilot or something, but these,
That's how they got the 54,000,
Sure.
multiplying that out by 30 houses by 12. So,
and the governor just recently passed legislation for workforce housing, and that allows them to negotiate with us instead of Mishta. And Mishta houses are typically low income, and they can't make those numbers work. And honestly, anybody I've talked to says that $1,500 is a pretty good deal on a rental.
Yeah, I've been in their model homes too in prior experience, prior job experience, so they're, you know, decent.
Yeah.
homes.
So one thing, kudos to Paula. One of the things that had to happen was phase 2 of the environmental of that area. And she got it paid for by, who was paying for it?
The MEDC,
MEDC, right? So was it $18,000? Is that what it is?
it's 12.
12,000, yeah, so that had to be done, that was part of the agreement, that the city would do that.
That's
Okay.
soil samples and all that stuff.
Yes.
Who's
We-
the desired clientele, I guess, per se, for these rent? I mean, is it like, are we trying to attract like people working in Lansing or people that already live in Langsburg? Or like, what's the intent? Or elderly or young people with children?
I
or-
think both. I mean, I don't know that, I don't know because they probably have their own target group, you know what I mean? So they do their own housing studies, they do all of that. So it's not just like a local guy wanting to do this. It's these people, this is what they do.
They're gonna have their own advertising budget for all this
And
most
they
likely. right?
picked us over Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo. They picked us because of our proximity to Lansing.
They spent time out here, went to Twilliger. and
With
spent
me.
time.
What kind of time frame or where are we at with this process? Like, I mean. is
Well,
there-
the guy told me as soon as possible, so, but I'm telling you, we're a year out from construction easy.
Okay.
Because we would have to, so first we have to get that phase 2 done, which those people were supposed to have started last week. So once that gets complete, and that could be about 4 weeks to get that complete. Then these guys are gonna review everything, we're gonna make sure the soils are gonna work. We gotta hash out how we're gonna build a road in there, who's gonna do that, and you know, who's gonna pay for it, how that's gonna look. And then we gotta hash out the legal language for the pilot. But once all of that is done, I mean, they're ready to go. And they wanna fast track it, and that was one of the reasons they picked us, because they said that, you know, they knew I was gonna get it done. I mean, that's what they told me.
So is there a possibility we can get them to build a room?
I-
With the price we're giving them and
Well, I know,
everything?
well, I'm sure there's a possibility, we just may have to figure out if that makes it, if that
yeah.
makes the numbers not work for them, like, so they can't make any money. then we have to negotiate that, or I've already put
Yeah.
feelers out for funding for it.
Well, and no, it never hurts to ask.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
But at $54,000 additional income from that property, it ain't gonna take long to pay for that rent.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already
because right
talking.
now, what are we getting for that property? We get
It
nothing.
was zero.
No, it costs us money to
Yeah,
keep.
right.
it.
Well, that's why the
maintain.
dollar's beautiful. You know, to me it is, but to some people in this town, it's not gonna be.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
And I think that, when we did this in 2012, when, we bought that piece of property and tore that down, it was not popular with some people. They thought the city was overstepping, but
Had to be.
I mean, that thing might still be sitting in our downtown had we not done that.
Yeah, and or somebody might got hurt in a lawsuit or.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like this thing is like, 12 years in the making, and it's really exciting, and
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, I
That's a
couldn't
great
sleep
idea.
for 2 days after they called me, so. it's
well,
like-
these guys probably have their own relationships of wherever they build, they've got their whole.
Well, they have a
network.
crew, they have somebody,
Yeah.
so, I mean, they have a well-oiled machine, and they just needed a place to build these
It's like the
houses.
Dollar General brothers coming in, they've got
Absolutely.
their own working machine, they just,
And they
go.
never asked us for a dime. I mean, they put a $2 million investment in Langford, didn't ask us for a dime. And everybody's like, well, how can you support two Dollar Generals? Well, I don't know, but how can we tell them they can't build a Dollar General?
So what is the next step in this process for what we would do?
Yeah,
So
we-
so the next step in this process, tonight, I'm introducing this PUD to you guys, which is, I want you guys to read through this and know what it means when we start talking about a PUD, which is planned unit development. So it kind of, I read through it and it just tells us, what we have to do. And I sent this to them, so I'm guessing they'll send something back if there's any problems with what they see in here. Otherwise, they'll probably put in an application.
Mhm.
And then once that application comes, that comes straight to the planning commission, and we'll have to review it.
Yep.
And we'll have to make sure that we cross all these things off and that all these things exist. And I think I saw one thing in here that might be concerning to me, and but I'm like, well, maybe I'm just reading this wrong, but. Something about that they couldn't all be the same or something.
Yes, I saw that too, where
Not
they are, you can't have the same elevation next to.
What does that mean?
So the elevation is the house design.
Like this?
So what it's saying is you can't have two of this same design next to each other or across the.
Oh,
street
but
from each
like,
other.
because those aren't all
Yeah,
exactly
these
the
are all three
same.
different. These are
Then
three
these-
different houses.
The roof,
Okay,
the roof
so-
lines are different.
Okay, so that's what it means. So that was the only thing I read through this and thought, that kind of concerned me.
they don't want a bunch of
Because-
mushrooms just straight across. Yeah.
It meant they could all be like the same height.
Yeah, When you go down Doyle Road, you'll see each one's a little bit different from the other one next.
Right, so, but I thought it meant they couldn't all be like the same height. I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? That was the only thing I read in there that I found even slightly concerning. So I feel like they'll put together like a big site plan like that size, and
It'd be nice if we get a big jump on this, and have it done this summer.
That would be.
You could imagine building it this summer.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's too much.
Hey.
Too much paper.
anything is possible.
Well,
They
yeah,
might be able to get a few houses built this year,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think just getting through the paperwork, we might be through construction.
Yeah.
They did say they will build any time of the year.
Oh,
They're-
yeah, okay.
yeah, They said
But I'm
they have
assuming
the,
no basements,
equipment.
but we haven't seen any,
No.
yeah, but, and so I'm thinking they're probably gonna go up pretty quick.
Are they gonna have garages, do you know?
I was gonna
It
say. I'll
sounded
be-
like it, yeah.
That was my next.
But when I talked to
Two.
them, it did sound like it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if they're, I
Oh,
think it
yeah,
just depends on the layout.
See a garage.
If they would, Cassie and I thought maybe the garage would be in the back, like they would drive in and pull to the, you can't see the garage because it's like, yeah.
a lot of questions yet.
And then I think
Yeah,
I think that's the thing that everybody needs to realize is that we're building this ship piece by piece
Yeah.
now. And I think that we're doing a good job of trying to get everybody in on the ground level and talking about it. So
So one of the things I did was, you may not, Levi Sanford is my son-in-law. He's on the fire, or he's training to be in the fire department. We were talking about that. And he brought up some concerns about the proximity of the houses to each other. And so I said, well, if they want to come talk to us about things as firefighters they're concerned about, we'd certainly be open to hearing about.
Well, they're right next to the water. hook up to the fire.
Well, yeah, that's,
So that's
well,
convenient.
but that would be a concern. We don't have city water, so we don't have the capability of, think of having fire hydrants. Is that a problem? I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I don't know.
I mean, we have a
So-
lot of houses already in that proximity of each other,
Yeah.
and then in downtown, we have
Yes.
all those buildings that are
Yeah.
interlocked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if,
Well,
I
we
sit
have,
across from Dan and he
Oh,
didn't have any concerns
Yeah,
about
You
it.
think
so.
they put
Wow.
well in
Those
three
brick
houses?
buildings came up too, how bad they are. It sounds like, oh God, I live in.
Was
one.
that, I know it really jumped back here, but.
I was just wondering if
on
they
the-
put a well in for each house, or they're gonna share wells, or.
Well, funny you should say that. I've already met with the health department and Katie and her boss were in here on Friday. And we talked through a lot of things and it was great to get them in on the grant because they had a lot of great ideas. They think that they might be better off to do several wells, but not one for each house.
Yeah, so just.
Like,
share.
so, yeah, like a shared well for, depending on how many houses it is or whatever, they think it might be cheaper for them to do that. But they would have to be approved through the state instead of through the local county. Department. But we did open that conversation, and I felt like we had a great meeting with them, and I'm kind of hoping that they're gonna do some research for us and get back with us, then we're gonna meet with, these guys and talk with the well people, so. But we've actually, I mean, we've done quite a little bit, so I feel like, we're just,
we're showing them the doors are open right now. It's like, hey, we're,
well, and I think that is what we are trying to do, right? We want to do business.
Yep.
And that's why they're here. That's why they're talking to us, because they went to other communities that they didn't get that feeling. And so we're like, yeah, we do. We want you. Come on.
I think it's our mindset. We've already been several years trying to build the town up.
Yeah.
Trying to make things to a new standard, a new level. So they see that. They
Yep.
came and saw that.
They did. I walked them around, showed them the park, showed them all the things we've done, talked about the grants we've gotten and, I mean, they've just kept the conversation going with me since, and it's been, it's really, really, really encouraging, so.
Is there gonna be a new street? We're gonna call it like Paul Way or?
Willoughby Way, I like that.
Wait, there you go. Well,
Too many letters on the side, we gotta.
Nobody will be able to spell it, but it'll be cool. So,
Yeah, we'll have to extend Clinton Street, but I don't know, it'll be a new street, so.
The streets is the biggest question in my mind.
Yeah,
How
oh,
to-
yeah,
How to get. how to-
well, I mean, there's gonna need to be a street back there, there's just no doubt about it. Whether we take that row and we go all the way to West Street where Culpepper's have that piece that come down. Which would, if we did that, I mean, that'd be a huge road, but if we did that, then that opens it up for even more development.
what about the postal service? Is there any thought or any reason?
We're hoping to hang on to it, if that's what you mean.
No.
Good answer.
What I'm asking, I guess, it's like, will there be like one community mailbox for the entire area, or will each of them have a designated mailbox, or is that?
That's
something
too
that we-
deep in the weeds right now. I
Yeah.
mean, just no idea how that will work. I mean, if they're individual homes, they'll probably each have an address and they'll each have the opportunity to have a box. But the post office might try to tell them they gotta have a PO box, but I don't think they have enough PO boxes.
I got two of them, they wanna get rid of one.
But I would
To get
say-
them back.
Over the next,
Business, one for residents.
I would say over the next month, think about questions like that.
Absolutely.
Because, the more we can get, more questions we can come up with and can figure out the answers, the better we're gonna be.
And we can talk to the
Quicker
postman.
it's gonna go.
Yeah, right, yeah, for that one, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying in general.
But I'm just
right?
saying, but when you
Yeah.
bring that up, then I can go talk to the postmaster and see if they have any concerns,
Right.
And that,
I guess
that's how I
That's
felt.
why I'm bringing it
This
up.
was
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
30 houses, right?
that's the plan, yeah.
Again, we have no idea how they're gonna fit them in.
Oh, God.
But
Jesus. It's 30 minutes out here. I read it, that's a scary thing.
Well, they do this all the time. I'm sure they've completely exhausted every opportunity of how things are gonna go, how the road's gonna connect. I'm sure they're gonna come up with all these plans for
Oh,
us.
yeah, they're gonna bring us a beautiful big set of
Big
drawings.
presentation, yeah.
We're gonna put red pen all over it. But, I mean, so far they have been like, just really good people to work with. They're not like salesmen. They just, they're builders. They're people who want to build homes. And so,
Workers, they want to just get it done.
I think they've said they've built 1,000 houses. I don't know, yeah.
they talked about I mean, you can look them up online, but they have talked about their rental business. And a few years back, they decided that it was profitable not to sell them, but to keep them in rental. And that's what they're trying to do.
And it's just unbelievable. Right now, buildings going for 225 a square foot.
There's a number of builders that are doing that, not only home builders, but they have rental properties.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I just wanted to get rid of mine just as fast as I could, so.
These guys, Edwin Allen, you know where the Walmart is, in Aldi off of Marsh Road?
Yeah.
There's an Ethan Allen development back there,
Oh, Ethan Allen.
or whatever it's called.
Oh, Edwin Allen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ethan Allen's furniture.
I was like,
Gonna
is
say,
it
No,
Ethan?
no, well, the name of this company,
Okay, got you.
this company has a development in there. It's in behind, Central Park Drive and the Walmart. There is one back in there. That's all.
I wonder if they're rental units.
I don't know. It's a good question.
I wondered about the ones on Chandler, where the airport used to be. Just north of Jimmy's, the restaurant. There's a set of houses in there that look a lot like.
It's like a row. Yeah, you're right.
But the aquatic center. you say?
Like, yeah, just south of the.
North
Center.
of, north
Is
is
it? I thought it was
Yeah,
south of it.
the aquatic, no, it's north of it.
Yeah,
Jimmy's,
it's the whole row. of homes.
The houses though, or something. I think I know.
They're like.
that may be,
townhomes.
yeah,
They're like nice townhomes, right?
Pretty.
right at the north end of that whole shopping center.
So we have to approve this PUD document and then that gets sent out back. That's the next step for us. Is that correct? To get it sent out to somewhere else?
This document?
Yes.
No, this is our ordinance already.
Okay.
So what this does is tell our developer what they have to provide us. And so what they'll do is follow these rules and bring us a document, and then we'll have to make sure that it meets all those rules.
So there's
Like,
nothing we need to do.
We
right
don't need
now.
to do
no,
anything.
nothing right now.
Oh,
This is
okay.
basically just a introduction, and let's start talking about concerns.
Mhm.
If you have a concern, you can shoot me an email, we can talk about it here, whatever, if something comes up. Somebody says something to you. I mean, I think one thing we want to do is try to keep the positive thoughts moving and make people understand that we don't know yet all the answers. But if somebody has, postal service, how close can they be together? Do we have to have sprinklers? I mean,
Right.
those things architects are gonna know the answers to
Right.
some of those things, and they're gonna be way out of our control.
You
But
got-
the postal service, I can go talk to them, so there are things
Yeah.
like the well, I can call, and talk to the health department. I can talk to the school. I mean, like I
Yeah,
said,
At school, you gotta have you can't 25-foot apart house and you can't stop at them. You gotta spread them out. I think it's like 75 feet.
these aren't gonna be
I
75.
know, so they're gonna have to do a community bus stop.
Right, and so that, I mean,
Yeah.
I've already reached out to Matt and just sent him what I know and said, hey, he goes, when are you gonna start construction? I said, I don't know. But I mean, I feel like that's all we're trying to do is make sure we're communicating this and that. I mean, as there's somebody I'm not thinking of, tell me, who should I be talking to? Because I don't want walls to pop up,
Right.
right? I don't
You don't
want.
wanna be blindsided.
No, I don't, and I think that if we want this to move efficiently, we have to keep those walls from popping out, and that's preemptive.
So I have one additional question on this, and it kind of jumps back to the master plan as well, but we're talking about wells and water sources for these houses. On page 8 in the square, I had made a note for under public services and infrastructure, goal 2, objective B, monitor the need for a municipal water system and aggressively seek out funding for implementation of such a system. Is that referring to like city water?
Yes,
And where do we stand on that? Like, is that something, like, does the development of this change our need, like, us monitoring that, or?
The only way that that would change the need is if those soils don't test. To be able to, have individual wells. If something is bad down there,
Okay,
then it might require a community well of some sort. But what we're talking about here is, development of this property has been prohibited by the lack of water. So putting individual wells in is cost prohibitive to a developer. Or adding a giant well and sprinklers is not, it's not really good when you don't have water, city water. So one of the things when we went through our planning process, like when you do like the analysis of what things you have that are good and what things you have that aren't, well, the lack of water is a deterrent for developers to come to Lawrenceburg. So where we are at with it is it's like, until if unfortunately, we don't want to have a bad, we don't want everybody's water to go bad. So that would be the first thing that would kick us up a notch to get them. But
and I'm not
Actually-
wanting it either, I'm just, that's
No,
the way I'm at. It's like, wow, I've never thought that we would consider that.
no, so, and it's so costly because we only have 600 houses.
Right.
So we're trying to spread, so many $1 billion over 600 houses. People are not gonna like that. Like when we put in the sewer, nobody was happy about it. But actually adding houses could lower the cost of that per home. If we get another couple subdivisions,
We
maybe,
have to go that someday.
right, then maybe it becomes worth looking into.
What are
But-
the costs associated with having a water tower? Like, you have to have a certain population, obviously, to.
Well, I think that any population
work.
could do it as long as they want to pay for it.
Right.
So it's like, if the cost is $1 million and you have 100 homes. And the cost is $1 million and you have 500 homes or 1,000 homes, then it starts to become,
Get down a little lower.
Yeah.
People accept it.
right, so the problem is right now is I have no idea what it would even cost, but you would tear up all your streets. Because you have to put in water lines. So all of our streets would get tore up. So you want to do some of that,
And the bigger, not only the initial cost, but there would then be costs.
Maintain it.
No, you'd have to pay your water bill.
Oh, yeah, you- well,
Right.
Right, where today they have wells and they don't have that bill.
Yeah.
So it's not just the initial cost, it's that going.
City water stinks anyway.
Well, they all know, everybody, all these homes, a lot of them have water softeners and all that monthly cost associated with it. If it's like, well, we're gonna have a
Yeah, right.
water system in, instead of doing it that, you do it this way.
Mhm.
If we can advertise it that way, we should really be cheerleaders for this thing.
Mhm.
There's
Like,
so
the main
much
thing
rust
is
in
we're
my
bringing-
water too.
We're bringing in lots of, we have such
I
hard.
agree and disagree. I like my well water. City water stinks.
My water tastes great, but our water really, like right now, like, I don't know, it's like the water table or whatever, it smells bad. And my like water filter system, it's like orange sludge that just like fall, it's like.
Yeah, I
thick
bought a
orange
water
sludge.
filter system, it clogged in 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
you gotta
screw
change
that.
it. Well, it's the sand. There's a lot of sand in the water here. But the taste of the water here is like.
No, I like to do it.
Langsberg water, and Hope Lake water, for some reason, the best in the state. I don't know why. Prejudice or what, but
We have a rental property up by Claire,
Mhm.
up by Everett, put a water softener in 6, 8 months ago. And we have a rental, right? She texted me 3 weeks ago. The water's tasting different. Do we have a water softener? Yeah, like 6 months ago.
So
Oh,
they haven't
okay.
salt.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
no salt.
No, I put salt.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, no, it's,
Just quit working or?
no, she just noticed. Just,
We don't have, I have water softener at our business. We've never had a problem
Yeah.
smell or anything.
Oh, no, it wasn't that it was bad, it was just different.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm jumping all over the board tonight.
No, actually, that's perfect.
Nice to have new eyes on some of these.
Okay, that's sure.
Yeah.
So
We've all run through this too many times.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of my first.
don't worry, you're the only one reading it. I have to twist his arm over here. So, questions on the development, postal delivery, road development, posters for fire protection? Anything else?
Will it be wearing?
What's, I do have a,
Yeah.
what has Dan said about it? Does that affect him at all? I can't imagine 30
No.
houses would,
I mean, he thinks great.
yeah.
They're making the strip too. I mean, they're easy
Right.
to watch.
For police,
Right.
thank you.
Police, yeah, exactly. I mean, again, can't imagine it would be that different for him, but.
It'd be nicer, less dirt road to drive on.
What about, I'm guessing streetlights are probably part of it, right?
I assume that streetlights will be part of their plan, because they'll probably, I mean, they'll probably have some lights in there. But then, downtown, a lot of our we have street lights already down there, so. I mean, there'll be probably some, when we put in the street, we'll have to have something down there. So,
Off topic, if we ever see like a light bulb out in the woods, who do we report that to?
on our website, we actually have a link to go right to Consumers Energy and put in the address where the light's out.
Or our streetlights?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep,
That's
so,
not done by the city?
most of them are handled by Consumers Energy.
Interesting.
Yep, so, there are a few that are ours, and if you go on there and it says, then it'll tell you that it's not Consumers Energy or whatever, but you can call us.
Okay.
We'll tell Dave or whatever.
Yeah.
People can call us, but just because, so what happens is, somebody will go, well, there's a street light out, they don't know exactly, where it is, so then they call us, then we don't know, so.
It's not the big LED ones that I'm talking like in the subdivisions, like the one of our main ones, I guess.
Yeah, those go into Consumers Energy.
Oh, it's surprising me.
Yep.
There's one out on Meridian, just north of Round Lake Road. There's one that's flickering in yellow and orange, and when it is working.
So when I see it, I try to, but by the time I remember, I forget.
CRS.
Yeah. So I see it and then it's dark when I go home the next morning and come in and it's light and it's gone.
The side of the line.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I know we're probably gonna have a lot on our plate, but I did buy this, well, actually it was free through the MEDC. There's like 4 of these, like webinars out there. And one's master planning for housing, which seems kind of interesting. So I actually have a copy of that. Zoning reform in Michigan, stand by your plan, and accessory dwellings, which is kind of like if you have I don't know if you have like a mother-in-law apartment or something, I think that's more.
Living suite.
So I have all of these,
Could we watch these together?
yep, and that's why I was wondering,
Put it on the screen or
yep,
whatever?
if we wanted to some night during one of these meetings,
Sure.
I could show it in here,
That's a great
because I
idea.
think it'd benefit everybody more to watch them together.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple of them, but I haven't been able to get them all, and they also sent me this zoning reform toolkit.
Movie night.
Yeah.
I think-
Popcorn and beer.
Great idea.
But I think that,
Yeah, bring your
maybe
own.
right now we should start with
Bring-
that master planning for housing or something, just to,
I think that should be the first. Get ready to go.
So
yeah,
we're gonna have going on.
Yeah.
Coming up.
so,
with this development.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good learning experience. For us.
Yep.
I mean,
I think it's great.
And then the other thing that, we were talking about at city council is we're kind of looking at having a joint meeting, like the planning commission, the DDA and the city council have like a joint meeting. We could do it at the fire hall or at the school, maybe in one of the rooms in there.
Conference room or something.
Yeah. And right now the topic is just to kind of find out where everybody's at with marijuana and if they understand what our ordinances say. Because there seems to be some confusion.
We could use the new auditorium in the high school. I haven't even seen it yet.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I'd like to see
I think
that.
that would be a great place for us to do that, so, but,
When,
so we're looking at maybe May, I think is what we talked about. We're gonna put it back on city council agenda next month. I just kind of want everybody to get into their brain that we might be doing that, so. And we thought we'd do it the night of one of either this meeting or the DDA, because then we already have one active group.
Sure.
So we'll probably do it one of our meetings, so.
the library groups meet tonight too. My wife's in that. We can bring more of them in there too.
is that right?
I think so.
No,
Unless
they
my wife-
usually meet on Thursday.
Unless she got it messed up, she goes, yeah, I got to be that too.
No, they usually
do?
meet on Thursday,
Yeah.
and the library's not open today because it's President's Day.
Mhm.
Oh, well, she goofed.
She might have just not needed to go to that one.
Yeah. Well,
she really,
huh?
Yeah, right. Twilliger.
Yeah. Good
It's never been there. with
excuse.
Are there any other items? Do you guys-
Others.
Others?
Oh, did everybody know that we were awarded a fellow? Which means we're gonna get, we did get awarded that grant where we're gonna start interviews next month, I think. And we're gonna get a person full-time for 15 months. So it's a grant through CEDM, so,
No, I don't need a job.
no.
What's the job description? What are they fulfilling?
It's all on the, like economic development stuff and, we wrote when in our application that we wanted this person to, help us become a Michigan Main Street community. Like work towards that, which is, you get a lot of resources for downtown and your commercial spaces and your businesses. And to help us, work towards like promoting the amphitheater and downtown and all of those things. And also these housing developments were one of the, that's before this landed here. We wrote this application. But still, she can help us, he, whatever, can help us through that process. Or it's sort of also a learning experience for them. So as we go through this process, they will see that and learn about it. And the big thing was, another item we wanted to work on was, promotion out at Sleepy Hollow. To try and get some of those people at Sleepy Hollow in here to patronize our business, use our parks. So. So if there's something the planning commission, say this ordinance that we want to work on. That's something that I could give that person to do.
When does that start?
They start mid-May.
Cool.
So we could, any of like the trail thing, those are things that, I mean, I only have so much capacity. So
Yeah.
this is, and we're hoping to utilize.
You can pass some of your work or Cassie some of hers.
Right,
Yeah.
so it hopes that it's kind of exciting that we can get somebody to do some of these things.
And they're supposed to be going to school for that type of thing, so they should have some knowledge. Right, so.
And so far, the people, like a lot of the people that were CEDM fellows last year, they've become employed at the MEDC or RRC, the state, they're getting full-time jobs in the industry too, so. It kind of seems like it's a pretty good program, so. Pretty excited about it.
We're moving on.
Like
That's
we
good.
talked about, Spark Grant was denied, but gonna reapply.
Same with the river grant,
Same with the, yeah.
so. Can't win them all first time around, but we'll get them next time.
Well, we're getting some. That's a great thing for the town.
Did the state notify you? They just notified, we have 6 months from yesterday to have all our stuff done. They just now started the timetable
For what?
for our grant.
Which, oh, yeah, I sent it to her.
Oh, it wasn't her? Okay, she just told me, said, so the state of Michigan must have sent it to you or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
We
they
figured
sent,
we'd already been 2 months in or something, because we've been working on it.
yeah, they sent it to us, to get signatures on it, so,
You see our shades?
yeah,
Like them?
yeah.
They are pretty nice.
So you guys probably we got a grant for, okay.
Rosemary.
So it's-
Grant.
For what?
They're grants for, they're called Match on Main grants, and they're $25,000 for the business. And they can use it for flooring, curtains.
Oh, for Rosella?
Yep,
Yeah, I did see.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
open for 11 years and.
Is that your
it's
business?
just- Yeah, yeah.
Oh, very
The wife's business. I'm the maintenance man.
you're the house cleaner.
I actually I'm not cleaning, we hired somebody for cleaning. I cleaned for about 6 years.
I know.
I got a lot of compliments too.
But anyway, these businesses, I think it's really great opportunity for them. It's $25,000 and they have to pay 2,500.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, and it's, the paperwork on the last one was pretty simple, got right through it, so. We're hopped right into another one,
It's
and I think.
between
we
you and
might-
her, you guys have done a lot of it. You know, she's pretty good at it, and you're good at it.
I think we might have another applicant this time around, so we'll see.
I told her to go for it again, but she thought, I don't think we'll get in.
I don't think you will either.
No, I don't know.
No, but I'd be excited to come down and see all the cool new stuff at some point.
Can I gonna do the brickwork again on the front of the buildings? You think them ones will ever come through again?
Maybe.
Do we have
That's what
any-
we need.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that. How's kids doing?
They're doing well.
They miss me?
Yeah.
Oh. dang it. That kid will walk up, see me and say, Mr. Dean, gives me a hug and a big tear just starts coming out of my eyes. The big old tough guy, you know,
Yeah.
and I miss my kids.
We need to end the meeting.
As I always tell the parents, if he gets on my bus, they're my kids.
Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome. I gotta go shut down the meeting here.
So that's, the printers, just get rid of it.
It's okay, if it's close to 10 years old, you can still get parts, but. If you get things already starting to go wrong with it, it's, yeah.
No, it was left from a tenant. So I'm just, do I load it in the trailer and take it to the dump? Do I?
I would,
You know.
I would make it a paperweight because when they start having the yellow doors and yellow things,
I get it.
the plastic is brittle